Hello and welcome to the channel. In this video, we're going to talk about the format function. This is part of the string functions family in SQL Server. The format function is used to format a value, could be a number, date, or time, into a specific string format. It allows for culture-specific formatting and is particularly useful for presenting data in a more user-friendly and readable way, especially in reports or display. Let's go see some examples of that. As you can see on this script, this is the very basic way to use the format function. You need to use it on a select statement, followed by three parameters. One of them is optional. There's value, format, and culture. I will explain each and every one of them. Value. It is the value to do the formatting. It should be in support of the data type format. For reference, here's a list of supported data types and their equivalent data type. If you're going to use numeric data types, this will be the data types that are supported. If you're going to use date and time data types, here's a list of the date and time data types that you can use. As for the format, it is the required format in which we require the output. This parameter should contain a valid format string in the embarcar data type. Culture, it is optional. Okay? It is an optional parameter, and by default, SQL Server uses the current session language for a default culture. We can provide a specific culture here in case we need to. For the numeric formats, here's the list, and it doesn't matter if you put them on lowercase or capital. It will do the same result. Example, for currency format, you can use capital C or lowercase c. For decimal format, you can use capital D, lowercase d. Exponential, E. Fixed point format uses F. General format uses G. Number format uses N. Percentage format uses P. Hexadecimal format uses X. By the way, this does the conversion to hexadecimal. Some of the most common English cultures for currency are the following. As you can see, it's EN followed by EUS or GB for Great Britain, United Kingdom, CA for Canada, AU for Australia, IN for India. Then we have the European languages. We have FR for France, TE for German, ES for Spanish, IT for Italy, PT Portuguese, and L for the Netherlands. We also have Asian languages, JA for Japanese, KO for Korean. Got two different Chinese versions. And other examples also include Arabic, Russian, and Hindi. Now I will show you a temporary table and how to apply those formats. Here you can see on my screen the temporary table that we're going to use to demonstrate the format function. The values we're going to use on the table are salary value, percentage value, random numbers, and random dates. We're going to turn them into more human readable format using the format function. Let's create the table and let's insert the values. Now let's see the contents of the table. All right, so let's take a closer look at the contents. And as you can see right here, we have our columns. Now, first column we're going to work with is salary value. It's readable because it's a small number, but as the numbers get bigger, it's much harder to read because they have no comma separation. That's one of the things we're going to fix with the format function. The next column is going to be percentage value. And as you can see, it reads 0.75, 0.35, and so on. It should read 75 and the percent sign. That's one thing we're going to fix with the format function. For random numbers, we're going to turn those numbers into hexadecimal values. And for random dates, we're going to turn those dates into different date formats depending on the region and the planet. This is useful when you need to create reports for different clients in different parts of the world. For example, let's say you have a client that has to read reports and he lives in India, and you need to format the date for their convenience. You can do that and put it in a view so they can generate the reports. It's very useful. Let's go see how we can accomplish that. Now, this is the first example of how to use the format function, and we're going to see it in action. At last, we're going to run one query here, which is this one. And this query uses two columns, uses the salary value column and the percentage value column. This is called the value. And what you see right here is called the format. Now, the format for each of these columns is different. This one is numeric, and this one is percentage. The culture is optional, as I mentioned before. We can leave this empty or we can specify that. It's good to specify the culture in most cases just to make sure that you get the appropriate format to the values on the columns. Okay, let's run the query and see what that looks like. Okay, let's do a closer inspection, and there it is. We have our comma separated values on the salary value column, and the percentage value column has the proper percentage symbol. And instead of saying 0.75, as you can see, it says 75. Instead of 0.35, it says 35%, and so on. So it's more readable. Now, we're going to do basically the same query, but in this case, we're going to use C. C stands for currency. Okay, so this should bring the currency symbol for English United States. Okay, more specifically. Let's run the query. And there it is. Let's take a closer look. And there it is. Now the salary value column, all of the values have a dollar sign on the front. Percentage value still remains the same. One small trick that you could use, either on numeric or currency, it works the same way. You can specify how many decimal values you want to have. For example, if you want to have 4 decimal values, in case you need it, you can specify that as well. And let's take a closer look. And there it is. You got 4 decimal values, in case you need that too. So there are different ways you can format this information as well. Same thing applies for the percentage. We put a 4, it could be a 6, or it could be a 5, doesn't matter. The information is going to change. Let's see some more examples with currency values. Now we're going to take a look at how we can format our currency values to different regions. In this case, we're going to use Great British Pounds, Hindi Rupee, Euros, which is used in Italy and most of Europe, Japan's Yen, and Russian Ruble. Let's take a quick look here. And there it is. It even positions the currency symbol in the right side. Some countries use it on the right, some countries use it on the left. Now we're going to see how to format numbers. In this case, we're going to format numbers to exponential value and hexadecimal value. Here you can see the random numbers on the left and the exponential value on the middle and hexadecimal value on the right. That's the equivalent for each row. Lastly, we're going to see how to format some dates. Now, I've added more regions for the dates because it's very interesting the way they look, and it's good to know that as well. Let's run the query, and let's take a close look. Here on the left, we can see the original value. And as we move on to the next columns, we can see how they look depending on the region. For example, we have the format for US English in America, and we have British. And as you can see on the British one, we have the day and the month. While on America, we have the month and the date, which is different. In Germany, they use a period. Chinese, they use the year, the month, and the date. We can also format it as US English, British English, German, Chinese simplified, Hindi, Russian, and Arabic, and it will do the proper formatting for you. This will finalize the video regarding the format function. If you find this information to be interesting, please like and subscribe. If you have any questions, please leave me a comment. And as usual, the whole code that you see in this video will be available to download on my GitHub page. I will leave a link under the video description, and you can proceed to download it and test it on your site. Thank you for watching.